Todavía no se preocupen, estoy haciendo el texto. Pero ya vi el portal, esto creo que ya lo vi. Al parecer ya no me va a permitir usar este cuerpo como desee. ¿No me van a dejar meterme con ella? Aunque no tendría gracia. ¿De qué hablas? ¿A quién te refieres con ella, Makoto? ¿Cómo que no se ve? Julián. Ah, bueno, no. Síganme. Mutenme. Me va a mutear para que lo vean. Ah, la vez se raptaron a Paimon. Ah, mira, pero no me dejan escoger. Sí, lo sé, no se preocupen. Ya me monté por el grupo. Ok. Tengo el equipo con toma, me lo van a matar en un segundo, el pobrecito. No, 2 personas. Es mi perro. Lo sé, yo le... Es la otra.
We meet again, traveler. This body is an assistant to the one within.
¿Qué?
But it is should the
Amigo,
one
¿qué me importa? Quiero pelear contra el bicho, no puedo creer que hice esto en vano.
This body shall stand in
Me
her
reitero.
way.
Ah, la bestia no. Tiene la lanza. Se reveló la marioneta.
You have wandered the realm in my body, and you appear to have grasped the true essence of eternity. You believe your present self has greater certainty than your former self. Thus, you believe your present self is correct. But have you really been enlightened with new ideas? Or have you been degraded by irreversible erosion? I'm here to show you my answer.
No sé, son 2 Shogun, amigo, falta un igual, mía. ¿Qué es esto?
And the dialogue we must now
sí, Shogun Raiden es el muñeco, ella es la original.
by the blade alone.
No sé, Yuli, no sé. Eso sí, que se ponga tenso el ambiente.
The discomfort I was experiencing earlier was caused by the Shogun rejecting my continued use of her body. As she indicates, once I started entertaining the idea of change, I became hostile, but inside a realm of consciousness.
¿Cómo que horrible las voces? A mí son regol las ingleses.
She cannot affect me in this way. Though she is a puppet, the Shogun has her own consciousness too. When necessary, she appears here to confront me.
Es regod, Julie, son regod. Cállate. No creo que me vayan a meter cinemática, sería muy feo, la verdad, que meterme más.
The Shogun herself is the manifestation of my past ideals, the very foundation stone of eternity. I would not try to change her if it wasn't necessary.
La verdad que sí, sería muy feo, la verdad, amigo, no puedo creerlo. No, ya la pusieron hace tiempo. No, de hecho no flasheo.
My form is a symbol of supreme majesty, in which has been vested power over all the realm. It is the cohesive embodiment of all that constitutes.
Y la pelea, ¿y qué es este texto? Ni de broma me va a saltar todo esto, Julie. Eso es importante, la historia. Pero el lore, Julie, pero el lore. El lore.
Every action undertaken is for the sake of resisting erosion. Determination, courage,
decía lo del juego, amigo.
hatred. All of these will be degraded and distorted by the incessant flow of time. Only rules shall remain constant for eternity. Those were my thoughts when I created
Apunta cinemática cualquiera, ¿no?
They are towering obstacles that I have no choice
es cierto, Yuli, no entiendes.
to overcome. You wish to make yourself my enemy? I am your past, the everlasting law, the guardian of eternity.
Amigo, no puedo saltar, amigo. Déjame saltar.
I am she who promised a dream to her subjects. Raiden A.
Ok. La pelea empezó ahorita así.
In the end, even the proud
pará. Mi Shogun Raiden otra vez, amigo. Ay. Vuelven a poner mi Shogun, amigo, no puedo creerlo. Sí, imagínate que sí. Sí, parece que sí. No, no es la de prueba, esta es la mía. ¿Cómo que la de prueba? Esta es la mía. Demasiado.
Insolent, though your blade has been cleansed of her blood and filth, never shall it shine as brightly as it once did.
No, no la pruebas.
Pathetic.
Julie, no la pruebas, mira. Es la mía. Es la mía. Julie, mira, es la mía. Es la mía, Julie. Julie, pero que mira que es la mía. Puedo cambiar los artefactos. Ay, la conferencia, después te la muestro. Esa también la te cacho. Y ya. Te caches mejor, Shogun. Acéptalo. Soy God. Tu ZZ.
Strike dead. Illusion shattered. Inazuma shines eternal.
Pa.
The Kitsune Sakura blossom
Da.
that once filled the skies
Da.
fell to the ground as pitch black rain. As long as the ley lines flow,
Yo creo.
the relentless erosion of time will never stop.
Hola, hola, hola. Ay. O sea, ¿qué es esto, mío? ¿Tartaglio? Que teletransporta. Ah, sacas espada. ¿Crees que yo tampoco tengo, no?
Insolent. There is no escape. The verdict is decided. Torn to oblivion. Weak.
Ok, Billy. Ven para acá.
Shine down. Absurd.
Ay.
Illusions are but distractions.
No, me...
Divine lightning that envelops all of Inazuma
Otra vez, amigo, pero
will
deja de
fade
curarte.
silently into
Rota.
the clouds. There shall never be another. Never. For the rest of time.
Ay,
Transcendent.
ay.
Inazuma shines eternal. Be gone.
Bueno, momento de pausa para curar.
The eye sweeps the land, torn to oblivion. Only emptiness awaits.
No, no, no. Mission Red en la mejor. Quita 23.000 con la ulti. Aunque debería quitar 1.000.000, pero bueno.
It appears your martial prowess has not dulled. But how long can your will remain
Déjenme usar a
strong?
Toma, por favor, que quiero probarlo en la conferencia. Quiero probar mi Toma, amigo, dale. No me
In
lo
this
creo,
realm of
amigo.
consciousness, her existence is tenacious indeed.
No sé, Julie.
She was built
No,
to
tiene una
resist
mandoble, ¿no?
emotion.
No, tiene la piel de
Her
lobo.
will is stronger than any other living beings, including you and me.
Does that mean this is gonna be a never-ending battle?
Maybe.
Si tuviera un Bene, yo hubiera terminado
But
esto en un
I have
segundo.
to prove to her that my present will is no product of erosion. The future I shall forge will be a grand undertaking. If I don't do this, the Shogun's rules can never change.
Cállate, gordito, japonés.
Inazuma can never move forward.
Re insultante era. No me preocupes, igual. No, lo pondría en japonés, pero no me gusta y los que tienen japonés. Es muy ruidoso y chillona.
Months,
Para mí.
years, centuries. And no matter how many times we must fight, I will defeat her. 500 years ago, humanity proved their strength in battle. Here in the present, they rely on their ambition to challenge
Clave.
wayward practices, tear them out like the diseased wood of an old sakura tree.
No, perdía liso por el liso,
Healthy
amigo.
branches might spring to life in their place.
No.
It is about
Saturar el
time
micro.
I learned to trust them. I understand that. But if the dreams of which Makoto spoke are true
¿Por qué
eternity,
saturar el micro?
a short moment for which the Shogun does not exist is nothing to fear. I fight for the everlasting future of Inazuma.
¿Cuál plata?
Lo sé,
However
bro.
long the
¿Por qué
battle
tanto
may last,
texto, amigo? ¿Por qué
It
tanto
is but a
texto?
drop in the ocean of eternity. I vow
Quiero
to the
pelear,
subjects
amigo.
of
Quiero
Inazuma
pelear.
that I shall one day return. This is my oath. During my absence, I place everything in
¿Quién
Miko's
importa quién
hands.
es Miko?
Dijo que le ha vuelto la plata.
Pass on my words.
No, usted no está
What? Me banearon.
No, yo no entiendo que su papá le volvió la plata a Mai, que Mai yo no sé qué, yo no
Me banearon. Acabo de escuchar el eco de Yuli. Acabo de escuchar el eco de Yuli. Acabo de escuchar el eco de Yuli.
¿Y a usted cuánto le dio?
No, me quitaron la cuenta del
No,
rol.
usted no, nunca va a poder salir adelante.
Me rompían la
Usted
piel y
todo lo piensa
cualquiera.
en la- Usted es unas personas que no ahorran un peso, papi. Yo no estoy trabajando y ya le estoy echando moneditas y cuando
Looks
suena la
like we
campana.
got kicked out.
No lo sé, la verdad. Ok,
¿Dónde está la mona?
ok.
It's making sense. And maybe this is the only way to change the Shogun's rules,
Usted no ha
but
podido vender
still,
no ha podido vender esa nevera, yo no la veo.
right? Also, A can be pretty stubborn at times and has a history.
Okay.
What if she gets
Tan linda que ve la mona, me gusta como dice la mona.
Piririm.
face? It could happen.
Dice yo champ, decía.
Never leave again.
Usted es muy linda, me gusta como dice ella
Yeah,
porque
we
usted es
should.
muy
Is
bonita.
there any way we can cut down?
Sí, amigo, ¿a quién le importa Paimon? ¿Qué le va?
Or, you
¿Qué
know,
pasa?
Ay,
help.
la esa
Whatever.
película.
Amigo, Paimon, no me importa.
Pueblo tan
First
rico.
things first.
No, no, a ver, creo que hay que volver a entrar. Espérate, Yuli. Hay que volver a entrar, creo.
You still feel time now?
Va a empezar la pelea, creo.
Right.
Si me hacen escoger.
¿Mando qué?
Ay, amigo, no me digas que aquí termine y tengo que ir a ser de Yamiko.
Ah,
No me lo puedo creer, amigo, no me lo puedo
¿verdad
creer que
es
tengo que...
colombiana? Entonces,
Amigo, no me la
amigo,
cuenten.
¿es radio?
Amigo, ¿por qué
Radio
aparecí
Uno,
acá?
música colombiana. No, ya no se llama Radio 1.
Triple 4.
Someone's not in the... I hope you realize how lucky you... That was a figure of speech.
Vamos a volver al grano, por favor, no me importa.
Porque le tocó 3 transbordes.
Sí, al
Oh,
pie.
okay, I see. So, Ace decided to palm Inazuma off on the human. Impossibly stubborn. Jumps straight to the most extreme course of action imaginable. Presumes her sheer will can see her through. Despite a near... You know as well as I do that she's always been like
Yo
this.
no entiendo esa
Why start
muchacha,
fretting
yo no
about it now?
entiendo. Anoche,
Rushed
todo lo
into
que
it
me
without
dijo de la
thinking.
noche.
Well
Que iba a
put.
echar la
So
policía.
you
Okay,
seem
va,
to be
va.
under the impression that I am able to offer some sort of...
Yo le dije a él,
Dumb. She's doing this on purpose, for sure.
Aha, you're learning, little one. But really, the truth of the matter is that I don't... All I know
"Mira,
is
es que le
that...
está hablando con
¿Qué?
ella,
Not
y
just
llora
because
por
of that.
ella, la
The
quiere,
na...
papi".
Anyway,
No tengo ni idea.
Pero, ¿qué le digo?
Voy a terminar el directo ahorita,
tienen
sí.
que cambiar todos dos. Porque
Bueno,
ella
¿qué hago? ¿Lo
también-
termino o no?
Ella
First,
también es
follow-
muy una persona que saca en cara las cosas y se contradice, entonces papi, muy maluco.
Amigo, sí. Espera. Creo que sí va a empezar ahorita. Amigo, por favor, que empiece ya. Quiero poder todo más.
Todos se escogieron, que no, que en un descanso.
Amigo, quiero poder a todo más. En la vida no me lo juega mal, amigo. Ya me juega feo esto. Yo con ganas de probar la toma.
No puedo ni tener y yo no entiendo ese amor tan raro. La verdad que yo no entiendo el
Ay.
amor que- no entiendo.
Quiero probar mi toma con lanza de jutado, amigo. No puedo creerlo. ¿Dónde está? La de maestría elemental esa que se le pone.
now then, I always to the outsider. In other words, even though I can't pinpoint... Yes, no need.
Se me puede enviar, creo.
This is Suit yourself. Worst case scenario, always stand to lose. Oh, well, if you're quite sure, then of course.
Oh, creo que se me da. ¡No!
Hmm. I
Si se me va a dejar pelear.
Nothing. It just seems extraordinary. By the way, remember to focus only a strong enough will can... Well then, the door's open. I'll stay
Amigo, que no me meta
outside and
directamente,
find
por favor,
what's
quiero escoger mi
really
equipo.
I'm placing my god in your capable hands.
Te confío a mi diosa.
For my sake and for Inazuma's, please. Bring her back.
Sí. No me digas, amigo, déjame elegir mi equipo.
sepa.
You better know what you're
Yo
doing.
tengo todos los...
That's enough chatter.
Ya anoche, ahí los tengo todos.
Dime que sí, por favor. Ay, amigo. Otra vez no me dejan escoger. Amigo, no me dejan
¿Usted está en el
escoger.
almacén con la mona hoy?
No, no es Julie, es Carlos.
La monita. Bien,
Es
gracias.
Carlos.
¿Y usted cómo me le ha ido?
¿Qué? A la vez.
Que la gente no me va a dormir.
No.
Que le iba a echar la policía acá y le estaba tocando la puerta, que le pasaron una copia que no...
A la vez, ¿qué es esto? ¿El evento de Trace Call? No, parada. No, eso no eran hongos.
Remember to focus constantly on your heartfelt
¿Eso no era
wishes
parte
when
del
you
tráiler?
enter inside.
Creo que eso sí era parte del tráiler, amigo.
Only if you are strong enough can I deliver you to the
A
right
la bestia, amigo,
destination.
para. Esto va a ser épico, papus. Va a ser épico, papus.
Barney, pero ella también es ofensiva.
A ver.
Barney. Yo le mandé a usted todo lo que me escribió ella anoche, no hizo aterrada.
Me muteo mejor.
Y llorando que porque él se fue, entonces uno...
A la vez empezó.
Uno dice, ¿qué clase de amor es este?
Está así.
María Elena. ¿Qué clase de amor es este?
Amigo, más sexo, no me lo puedo creer. Maldita sea.
You have returned.
Basta con el texto.
But how were you able to get back in? And how
How
come you have not changed at all? And all this is a duel to repeat. It is
Amigo,
as if
amigo, ¿por qué más sexo? Quiero
for your firm commitment to
No me digas,
enforcing the
no me digas
rules.
que tengo que
You
hacer
have
esto en el
my
encargo ya de
admiration.
Mico, amigo.
You
Eso es
bring
feo, la
honor
verdad.
to the title of. Now
Yo
these
parece que
two
sí
return
creo.
once more to this space.
¿Cómo, Barney?
Then, let this be our final duel. The conclusion to that which began 500 final duel.
O si no, no me voy.
Amigo,
Your final. Stand back, traveler.
¿cómo que atrás? ¿Cómo que atrás? Yo quiero probar mi
I'm
toma.
going to be the start of something new.
¿Otro qué?
Amigo, dale. No me van a dejar probar.
Time our duels took to
Ay, no de
was
nuevo.
long enough to witness the rise and fall of nations.
¿Me dejaron la ulti?
Energy that consumed,
Ya lo va a tener
great
cuando
enough to
se vaya a
vaporize the ocean,
¿Me dejaron la katana?
turn day into
A ver, por básicos.
and the will they demanded, sufficient to penetrate minds and
¡Ah, no! ¿Ves que se convirtió? Pero. Uy, pará. Ay,
I will endure forever.
hostia, tú.
Shine down.
Ay, me quitamos demasiado. Como Jesucristo ahí solito. Ay, amigo. A eso te vuelvo a poner esto acá. La conferencia mando deja de muerte. Amigo, me tomé una poción geo, no puedo creerlo. Sin querer queriendo. Se me olvidó el pollo, perdón.
There is no escape. Calamity.
Ah, mira, eso era la parte del trailer, amigo. ¡Hala, bestia! Oh. ¡Hala, bestia! Pará. Me quitó uno.
Shine down.
Insolente. Bestia.
Illusion shattered. Eternity is in my hand.
¡Ay, no, Tartaria!
There is no
Era broma,
escape.
era broma.
¿Para qué vuelva?
Amigo. No, muero.
Illusion shattered. Perish.
Shun con Tekach. Muere.
There is no escape. Purge all obstacles.
Cállate. Muerto. Sí, toma.
No vaya
Ah, dale, amigo, no puedo hacer nada.
This
No me dejo
is
usar la
the
toma.
end.
No me dejo usar la toma.
I believed you were incapable of
No me
transcending
dejaron
the
usar la
past.
toma.
But it seems my belief was
No me
baseless,
dejaron usar la
and I
toma.
underestimated your spirit. But a will that cannot be eroded has no... You need not worry about the future. And you aren't alone. I know your power more than anyone else. Had I relied upon my strength alone,
No
I
puedo
would have
creerlo.
lost this duel for sure. Yet,
Amigo.
and whenever I think of this, I feel something stirring. The blade that I inherited from Makoto seems to be trying to guide me. I noticed it also. Just now in the heat of battle, it seemed to unleash a new and unfamiliar power. This power is beyond the limits of my understanding. This blade belongs to
Makoto.
Makoto.
Makoto. ¿Cómo dicen
Perhaps it
Makoto?
can only respond to
¿Por
me
qué
with
dicen
its full
Makoto?
power.
La antigua
and I
Shogun.
truly understand and believe in her. When I clasped, it was at once. You have my approval. Your
Makoto.
present will is not the product of erosion. From this day forth, this body will I won't design any more rules that can never be changed. You used to represent my past, but from today onward, you are me.
Ah, la vez se lo redijo.
Makoto never saw me as a fearless weapon. Likewise, I should... You truly have changed. I suppose this is what humans call... I understand. I shall become your shadow, just as you were once Makoto's shadow. The duties I perform will not change, but as a warrior, I look forward to the chance to fight like this again in the future.
¿Qué onda? No, está Nico. Hola Nico, ¿qué tal? Saludos, ¿todo bien? Claro, sí, todo bien aquí dándole al Genshin Impact, transmitiendo con los compañeros. Querían ver ahí el cómo me enfrentar contra ese bicho, pero no, quería probar un personaje más que todo.
And greetings, those who have come to bear witness. I am Raiden Makoto, the previous Electro Archon, who failed in my duties and left you all to pick up the pieces.
Makoto?
Sí, lo sé, la de... Creo que es, si no estoy mal, la isla Narukami, ¿no? Creo. Claro, también, fíjate Nico. Saludos a Vero, a mi hermana. Está respiada igual, ¿no? Saludos también. Lo te deseo saludar a todo el mundo.
You held such deeply entrenched views at the time that you wouldn't have listened to a word I said. There was no time to wait for you to have a change of heart.
No.
Please forgive me. All I could do.
Eso me recuerda al coso de Halo, si no estoy mal.
You never mentioned this to me.
A ese bichito que era como que un mini microondas que volaba y guiaba al Master Chief.
For having to entrust Inazuma to you all of a sudden. I should have been the one to impart these ideas to you, a little at a time, to dissuade you from your pursuit of stillness. Did you know what was about to happen in Conria? I had some sense of it. That place was not somewhere that any Archon could afford to ignore. In my present form, I can
Todo
no
lo que hago por
longer
tan solo
perceive
60
time.
protogemas, ¿se dan cuenta?
I don't know how long we have been separated before, but I know that this must have been an
Pero igual es a uno le
extremely
encargo, aunque me
arduous
olvidé que
journey
tenía una
for you.
hermana, Shogun Raiden.
And I'm sure you must have wanted to shed tears.
Son 60 igual las protogemas que dan.
See?
Me hace eso porque literalmente estoy haciendo el encargo y no me voy a volver a acordar.
It was with this possibility in mind that I left a parting gift for you. Here, take it. Before my last shred of consciousness fades away. But it is you who must take the most important step.
¿Por fin o qué? ¿Cinemática? Se me quedó la... Oh, cinemática. Oh,
The light turned into into a seed?
The miracle
A la
tree
bestia.
that blesses
Una
the
semilla
people
le hizo.
in this moment new to the world and yet to be known. When to plant it, where it shall bloom. She who brings it into being must let her heart and dreams decide.
El de Yamiko.
Grant it life, eh? Is it really?
Yamiko, supongo. ¿Qué le pasó? Eso en el trailer, creo. ¡A la
Eternity
bestia!
extends time into infinity.
No.
Dreams illuminate each moment within. When both shine in unison,
Zorritos.
the sacred
Kitsune
sakura
dijo.
blooms
O no
from
sé
the
lo que sean, pero
darkness,
son zorros.
finally free from the clutches of the heavenly principles. Now the nightmare has dissipated, and reality is made whole. The vision we both yearn for is still further ahead.
No.
My only
Es el
regret
árbol, el
is
cerezo
that I
sagrado.
cannot witness Inazuma's future, nor can I walk this journey with you.
No.
Do you know, A? I am so happy right now, because my final wish has now come true. Your polearm once protected me from countless calamities. For this, I've always felt indebted to you. Though I could never repay you in full, this sacred sakura will buy you some time until you are ready to awaken and embrace the new. What do you think? Did it do the trick?
Va a llorar.
This time, it really is goodbye, eh?
No, F. Sí, qué triste, pero qué bonito al mismo tiempo. Nunca me acordé de quién era Makoto, pero bueno, igual piola. No pude usar la toma, estoy enojado la verdad, pero me gustó el encargo. Sí, la primera arconte antes de Shogun Raiden. Era la primera arconte Electro. Exacto, la Shogun Raiden pero de la antigüedad. Sí, básicamente, ahí lo explicaron hace un rato también, aunque yo me había olvidado. La Shogun vieja. Dejan el plano en la conciencia y le cuentan toda a Yamiko. No termina, pero no termina. Bueno,
the sacred
no
sakura
termina.
in the realm of consciousness, and it took root in the Inazuma of the past. No matter what you make of it, it's quite incredible.
¿Cómo que inicia la misión Yamiko? ¿Tú crees que va a iniciar eso por segunda vez?
Her understanding of
Si
eternity
esta fue un
is
texto,
much more profound
no me
than
quiero imaginar
mine.
la de Yamiko.
Eternity is a concept intimately connected with time. When you begin to touch on eternity,
A place where time is
Dios, ni el encargo de
meaningless
Shogi
and
tenía
cannot be
tanto texto,
understood with
ni el de
ordinary
Yanfei.
logic. Perhaps that is the reason why you were able to return precisely to this point in time without... And yet, that sense of disorderliness has now...
I don't fully
Sí,
understand.
es cierto, en el Yanfei es mucho texto. Es
But
cierto.
my intuition tells me that the reason for everything,
Well, I'm not convinced that it was Makoto's power.
I know what you mean. Perhaps Makoto got a higher power involved in all of this. But whatever the explanation, her solution
Astaroth.
is what saved
¿Quién
us
es
all.
Astaroth?
Without the sacred sakura,
No, pará, digo era eso.
Inazuma would likely have been completely swallowed up centuries ago by the...
I know you've always perceived there was something special about the sacred sakura. But to me, it has always been there. You've tried
Curioso
in the
igual.
past to prove to me that in the sacred sakura.
Me ataca. No, incluso
But
pasó mi
did
hermana
persuade me, did you?
con
No.
puros amigos Vero.
But I understand why now. It was because the sacred sakura hadn't even been planted then.
But don't you think that tree looked a lot
Espera,
different
que
than how
no
it
se
does
parece
now?
en nada al de ahora. Sí,
The sacred
cambió.
sakura is within my purview at the shrine, so obviously I get to prune it exactly how I like it.
Pasa.
Now we see who's pulling the strings.
I'm joking. That tree has been through a lot since it first sprouted. We have the loving care of Kitsune over the ages to thank for how it appears today. And obviously I played my part too. It's fair to say that very little time passed between the moment you came out of that realm and the moment you re-entered it. But in that traveler, if I'm guessing correctly, you were repeating your wishes to yourself in your mind, weren't you? At that time, I could sense A's whereabouts, but I also sensed anomalies in the flow of time within that space. Suffice to say, time added a whole new dimension to our search. Simply establishing a location was not sufficient. Fortunately, your will was strong enough that the turbulence carried you to the moment in time most likely to be the intersection of all that you were wishing for. The flow of turbulence may well have been influenced by Makoto, but it took everyone's efforts combined to ultimately help A. So this time, it looks like thanks are due to you.
Does that mean it wasn't by chance that we ended up at the final duel? We were always meant to be there to witness what was going to happen?
Okay, dale.
I thought that the flow of time was the same on the inside and the outside. So it was a great shock to me when the traveler
Respawné
my first
todo el poder de
thought was,
reintentar cuando me muero
has a great
de
disaster
hundirle a
befallen
X y
Inazuma?
aparecer con la mitad de la vida.
But it turned out you had come to rescue me. You came for my sake, to help me reach the... You too have my thanks. You have done much for me.
Tengo una Jin
and
que
I
es
will
healer.
never forget it.
¿Cuenta?
Hey, how are you feeling
Una
now?
bárbara de PS y healer.
My body
Creo que
has
cuenta.
fully recovered, and the Shogun's will no longer fights against me.
Always thrilled to hear you're in good health.
Ella que pone
But I was
escudos.
really asking about your emotions. Have you managed to calm down? After all, you saw Makoto in there, didn't you?
I only heard her voice. I wouldn't say I saw her. I'll be fine. It brought a few things back, of course, but I've made my decision to move forward.
No, pues que la Shogun iba a hacer un voz semanal, me mintieron.
This has
Solo
reminded
fue
me
mi cero
once
encargo.
again just how brilliant Makoto was. She predicted all the ways
O a
in
lo
which
mejor queda ahí.
Inazuma's future could unfold, all the way
Sí, pues
back
Daja
then.
ahí.
She even factored my immaturity into her plan. It's all thanks to her that Inazuma lived to see this day. I just planted a seed.
Yeah, it was thanks to everything you did that you got to see her again. That's amazing!
Thank you.
Today, at long last,
Me da
you
curiosidad
and
porque de vez en
Inazuma
cuando hay
finally
diálogos
emerged from the
diferentes.
shadows cast by the events of centuries past. Makoto and you are Inazuma's past and future, and both are indispensable.
It's rare to hear such comforting words from you. I graciously accept them.
Oh, come on. You only think it's rare because you never used to listen to a word I say.
Makoto said the exact same thing!
Great minds think alike, hmm? I wonder, does that qualify me to, maybe, take the position of Shogun for a couple of days? Actually, no. Forget that. Far more trouble than it's worth.
We will have
Cara
to
que
end the
puso.
frivolities there. There is much work to be done. The Shogun and I will closely review the Inazuma of today to find out where things currently stand. Then, we will give careful consideration to the future. After that, I will abolish the Sakoku decree.
Really? That's huge news!
I am no longer pursuing an eternity defined by stasis. In which case, there is no further need to keep the nation under lock and key. I don't doubt that many challenges lie ahead for Inazuma.
Piriririm. Curioso.
I'm looking forward to it.
¿Terminó por fin? 60 protogemas por fin. 60 protogemas, no pude probar mi toma.
Check this out.
Ahí está. Mi toma. No lo pude probar nunca. Ahí está por si quieren ver todo.
De pena, mi dulce amor.
Ahí está todo mi team por si lo quieren ver, by the way. Oye. No le he puesto artefactos. ¿Quieres que haga? ¿Cómo que 5 de probabilidad ahora? ¿Tan baja la tengo? Ay, sí. Ay. Y bueno. A ver qué dicen.
Many challenges still lie ahead for Inazuma.
Ni de broma, bueno. Ni de broma, voy a ponerle todo eso. Ahí está así. Aprovechando esto. Listo. Desbloqueada. La cara ya, mico. Y listo, ahí está así. Piola. Y listo, eso fue todo ahorita así. A cortar directo.